Swadika, very good evening and welcome to Thai PBS World Tonight. I'm Nad Bunag.
I'm Tulip Nak-Sompok-Plau, and we will start this edition of Thai PBS World Tonight with the news that has been on the first page of almost every news agency in the world, I would say. Is something happened right here in Bangkok in front of the Grand Palace on Sunday night when Their Majesty King and Queen came out from the ceremony at the Emerald Buddha Temple and greet the crown, and suddenly there was a foreign reporter asked a question, and it's become a news because it's not usual that our royal family will answer anything so candid like that. Let's take a look.
His Majesty the King responded to questions from Channel 4 News in his very first TV interview while meeting thousands of royalists last night who waited in front of the Grand Palace to meet the King and members of the royal family. When asked by correspondent Jonathan Miller on what the King wanted to say to the protesters who are seeking reform, he said, "I have no comments, and we love them all the same." His Majesty the King also called Thailand as the land of compromise when being asked whether there is any room for talks with the protesters.
So talking about the anti-government, anti-establishment protesters, the Pathumwan District Court has rejected the Thai police application for protest leader Rung Panasaya to continue to be held on remand, but allowed the police another 6 days to complete the preparation of the case with public prosecutors. The police want Rung Panasaya to remain held on remand relating to offenses they allege that she committed during the protests at the Pathumwan Skywalk on June the 5th and June the 22nd. The protest was calling for justice for Wanchalerm Saksit, an anti-monarchist who was abducted in Cambodia and has not been seen since. Rung also charged with offenses relating to the reading of a Kana Rasadon announcement. In rejecting the police application, the court ruled that the investigation into the two incidents had already been completed, and the case files concerning her two co-defendants had already been sent to the public prosecutors. The court said it believes that there is no reason for Rung Panasaya to attempt to flee, to interfere with evidence, or to cause trouble if she were to be released, adding that she is still a student. According to the court procedure, Rung Panasaya can now ask to be released on bail.
And for the past few weeks, we've been hearing more about two more protest leaders. One side from the anti-government protest was Mai Pasarawali, and for the royalist groups is Haruthai. So let's find out more about these two ladies in this report. When Thailand's rising political conflict went international outside two embassies last week, two women with opposing viewpoints were leading the way. Mai Pasarawali Thanakit Wibunpon, a 25-year-old student, led several thousand anti-government protesters to the German embassy to request a probe of the king's visits to Germany. His Majesty the King is known to have spent a considerable amount of time each year in Bavaria. Although police took legal action against her for leading protesters to the German embassy, the young activist still continues to protest for Prime Minister General Prayut Chan-o-cha to resign, the constitution to be redrafted, and the monarchy to be reformed. The following day, 46-year-old singer Haruthai Mungbunsi showed up in front of the U.S. Embassy with a smaller crowd to demand the U.S. to stop interfering with Thai politics. Haruthai believes a disinformation campaign is being conducted to undermine the monarchy, which she and other royalists see as a core unifying force in Thailand. Her group, Thai Pakdi, is also opposed to any move to amend the charter. Mai Pasarawali, an undergraduate at Mahanakhon University of Technology, had no interest in politics until 2015, where she saw a video of university students being forcefully arrested for taking part in a rally to mark the first anniversary of the 2014 coup d'etat. This was when she realized that politics has affected every phase of her life. Pasarawali co-founded the Mahanakon for Democracy group to create a safe space for debate, including at pro-democracy protests. She also co-founded Free Youth, the national protest group behind the big rally at the Democracy Monument on July 18th. 2 weeks later, on August 3rd, she made headlines with her first rally speech, dressed as a witch, in keeping with the protest's Harry Potter theme. However, Pasarawali's rise to prominence in the protest has come at a cost. Already out on bail after being charged for participating in previous rallies, she was hit with a further charge last week related to the German embassy protest. Yet with strong backing from her fellow activists, Pasarawali shows no sign of backing down in the push for a more democratic Thailand. Before venturing in politics, Haruthai's first love was music. She debuted as a lead singer of rock band Paper Jam in 1997 before becoming a solo artist and winning several awards. Stars normally lose their sparkle over time, but Haruthai has managed to stay in the public eye longer than others. In 2006, she was elected as a Bangkok district councillor under the Democrat Party banner and then re-elected in 2010. When the People's Democratic Reform Committee took to the streets in 2013 to oust the Yingluck Shinawatra government, Haruthai joined them and began delivering speeches on stage. She remains a fierce defender of the PDRC to this day, despite its dissolution after the coup. The former singer has never shied away from the battle and is now on the front line mobilizing royalists against protesters pressing for monarchy reform. She believes that royalists are coming forward to protect the royal institution, not to confront with protesters. Haruthai's political convictions are rooted in her college years when she joined the 1992 uprising against the regime of General Suchinda Krapayun. She was among the protesters detained during the bloody Black May crackdown that year, which saw Suchinda resign following the intervention of His Majesty King Rama IX. Despite their vastly different stances, both Pasarawali and Haruthai have one thing in common. They are determined to fight for their cause no matter what.
And that's all the news we have for you in this edition of Thai PBS World Tonight.
สวัสดีค่ะ